I, 27 male, live alone. My brother, 21, and his girlfriend, 19, still live with our parents as they can't afford a place of their own. His girlfriend is currently about 4 months pregnant with him. My brother asked to bring his girlfriend for dinner to catch up, and I said, sure, why not? However, the moment she entered my house, she started complaining about the smell of the steak I was making and said just the smell alone made her nauseous and she couldn't eat this. I tried to suggest an alternative, but she was dead set on Chinese food and sent my brother to the nearest mall to get her some. I thought that would be the end of it, but after going to the bathroom and coming back, I caught her throwing my unfinished steak into the garbage. I asked her what the heck she was doing, and she said the smell was so strong she thought she'd end up throwing up on the floor and she needed to get rid of it. Then she started spraying perfume from her purse in my kitchen. I was beyond furious at this point and sent her back to the living room, and after my brother came back from the mall, I kicked both of them out with their Chinese food. My brother tried to convince me to let them back and that I could make something else for the two of us, and his girlfriend was pretty much sobbing at this point, but I was dead set on kicking them both out. However, my parents were mad at me for causing my brother's pregnant girlfriend so much distress. I told them that she literally threw away our dinner. However, they said that I shouldn't have yelled at her or kicked them out, as she's still just a teenager who's now getting influenced by her pregnancy hormones, and that my outburst also caused problems in their relationship, as she ended up sending my brother to sleep on the couch that night, even though he literally defended her as well against me, so I have no clue how this is my fault. Am I the idiot for apparently not having enough tact to deal with a pregnant 19-year-old? Not the idiot. If they're old enough to be parents, they're old enough to act like adults. Apparently they're not old enough for either. Throwing the steak away wouldn't eliminate the smell anyway, and spraying perfume on top of it wouldn't mask the smell, it'd just make it all worse. I had horrible morning sickness with both of my pregnancies, and I know how awful it can be when just the smell triggers nausea, but throwing out the food isn't the way they deal with it. Excuse me? Throwing away a whole steak in this economy? No, Mom, goodbye. I've had 4 pregnancies and never threw out someone else's meal. Did I cry about my own wrong Subway order? Yes, but that's a whole different story. Your brother's girlfriend owes you some steaks. LOL, what a shiny example of motherhood. I'm feeling for that kid. My brain is still circling over the Olympic-level mental gymnastics needed to say she is both old enough to be a mother and still just a teenager. Like, pick one? Your parents shouldn't infantilize her if she's preparing to be a parent herself. Also, I know 7-year-olds with more sense than to throw out someone else's food. 19 is far old enough to have learned that lesson. OP was right. Being pregnant doesn't excuse bad behavior, and parents are infantilizing the woman. They're going to end up with 2 babies in the house. Do you know how she will learn to act like an adult? By others treating her like an adult and her seeing adults acting well and dealing with the consequences when they don't. And honestly, I bet the parents just wanted her out of their house for the night, and her angry OP didn't put up with her for a few more hours. For the night? Sounds like they might be looking down the barrel of being full-time babysitters in a few months' time and not too happy about it. This mother-to-be obviously isn't backward in expecting others to meet her every need. Don't waste energy being mad at them. Just sit back and thank your lucky stars you got an early morning of an impending disaster. This was an all-time low for me, as usually I'm the problem solver. I shouldn't have said it, but was I wrong in saying it? My husband and I both grew up in foster care and developed 2 completely different attitudes. I'm humble, problem-solving, generally positive, and a glass-half-full type of woman. He's a life is out to get me, it will never get better, glass-half-empty type of man. Not always. Please don't take this as me bashing him. He has gotten better with the help he gets in therapy, but those moments when he collapses and goes back to his negativity are hard. He has a lot of good days now and things have been getting better, but he recently had a personality shift again. Now, back a year ago, he got himself a dog. Her name is Josie and she's a Heeler Dachshund. I didn't spell that right, sorry. I wasn't exactly in on this decision. Still, I wasn't surprised because he impulse buys and spends and generally doesn't think before acting when it comes to these impulses. Again, he's gotten better, but it's still there. He wanted a dog in foster care but couldn't, so now he has one. That's how he sees it. He didn't take into consideration her breed or temperament. She has a high prey drive and is nippy even with us sometimes. We have bent backward trying to train her, but nothing appears to work. And now, due to her prey drive, we have a hard time being accepted into any other apartment and house, and we're on the verge of eviction after a steep increase in rent. $550 increase, so now we're paying $1,600 for one bedroom, nothing included. In the first month of him getting Josie, I begged him to rehome her. My foster mom was a dog trainer and I knew a thing or two about training and temperaments, and I knew that given Josie's breed, we were going to have troubles. He didn't listen because he didn't want to abandon the dog just like he'd been abandoned. And now, due to this, we can't find another place to live, and we're slowly going completely broke paying rent here. We only have $26 to last us until next week and do not have rent money for next month. He started complaining really heavily yesterday, and I will admit my tone and attitude were unlike me. He was saying he was sick of living in poverty and was tired of never having money, and I've heard this far too many times. So I told him we live in poverty because he made the poor choice of getting an aggressive dog with a high prey drive and refusing to rehome her because of his abandonment issues. We had a place lined up months ago that backed out due to the dog. Everyone else says we cannot bring the dog. We can't afford the other ones. He says I'm an idiot for making him feel like crap for refusing to rehome his dog. I'm admittedly feeling pretty crappy for even saying it, but am I wrong? He says he's sick of living in poverty but went out of his way to get a dog. Let's see. Common costs of owning a dog: food and treats, toys, grooming, vet visits, annual shots, anti-flea, tick, heartworm meds, dental procedures, boarding if you're out of town, etc. Oh yeah, and we're in the middle of an inflation crisis, so the cost for all of these is skyrocketing. Not the idiot, you're correct. Part of being an adult is taking responsibility for your own decisions and realizing that you can make choices that affect your present and future. Your husband has a victim identity and cannot progress until he's out of it. When you're a child, the world can be a dangerous place for some, and he needs to get out of that space. Also, rehoming the dog somewhere that has the space, training, and resources it needs is in the dog's best interests, and not the same as abandonment. OP, you're not the idiot for the situation, but you are one to yourself. Is this what you want your life to be? I don't think you can say he's gotten better when his impulses are about to leave you homeless. You're about to be homeless. Screw his feelings. I think it's time for you to decide if this is what you want, or if this is someone you want to spend your life with. Someone whose terrible choices is about to make you homeless and refuses to accept the blame for it. Someone whose feelings are more important than you having $26 that has to last until next week. He has serious issues, but that's where it has to end for you. His issues. Do not let him ruin your life because of his BS. Yes, exactly, and she has to be ready for the manipulation. Go ahead and leave me like everyone else has. Guilt trip BS he's going to pull out when she finally calls it quits because he keeps making poor choices and disregards things that don't bring him satisfaction. Some people can't get out of their own way. So I, 22 female, am the eldest of 6 siblings, 19, teen, young teen, and tween twins. The 19-year-old is at uni in another city some distance away. My parents unexpectedly need to go to visit relatives abroad and have asked if I can look after the kids for a week. This is generally fine except for one day I'm attending a course in another city. I'll have to leave my parents' house at around 6:40 a.m. and won't return until 7 or 8 p.m. Luckily, my boyfriend, who I live with, is off that day and is happy to help. When I told my mother this, she was incredibly appreciative and I thought nothing more about it. Well, fast forward to today, 2 days before they leave, and my mom asks if my boyfriend is okay about getting up so early to get out here. We live in the city, parents are out in the suburbs about an hour by bus. I tell her that that's okay, he'll just come through the night before. To say my mom freaked out is an understatement. Mum, and where exactly will he be sleeping? Me? On the pullout with me? Mum, absolutely not under my roof. Now to be clear, when my boyfriend and I first started dating, on the couple of occasions we did visit my parents together, we did sleep in separate rooms. However, my parents always said that that was just because they didn't know him, and earlier this year, before we were living together, my entire family rented an Airbnb for a wedding, and there were zero issues about my boyfriend sharing and me. Not only was it not a big deal, but my mum specifically made the room arrangements and put us together without any discussion from me, so I was pretty blindsided by this reaction today. I checked the timetable and he'd need to get the bus just after 5 a.m. to guarantee he'd be there before I had to leave, and presumably my mother was also expecting him to leave once I returned that night, meaning he'd potentially be getting home around 10 p.m. That is a ridiculously long day and far too big an expectation for someone who's doing you a favour. I advised my mom as such and reminded her about the Airbnb and the fact that we already live together, and she reiterated that there will be none of that under my roof. For the record, the couch is in the living room, which has no closable doors, just open archways to the hallway and dining room. As such, there is zero chance that we'll be doing anything scandalous over those 2 nights. I told her this, but she still maintained that it's her house, so her rules. I told her that I felt my terms were more than fair, and that if she didn't like them, then she should find someone else for the week, and hung up. She's been texting, calling me selfish, and saying how this now means she'll need to stay behind, and I hope I'm proud of myself. I made it clear that it really doesn't mean that. There's a pretty easy fix here. Edit, the pull-out is my parents' bed. It's in a little recess in the corner. They downsized last year. It's a 2-bedroom and the other rooms are already crowded with my siblings, and we'd have to sleep on the floor, which I'm also unwilling to do. Not the idiot. My house, my rules isn't a get-out-jail-free for being an idiot. Mom, in this instance, is being an idiot with her idiot rule. Doubly so in light of OP being an adult and doing her a favour. It's even more ridiculous when you consider OP and boyfriend living together. Mum can clutch her pearls to her heart's desire when she looks after her own kids. Mom is free to have rules, however this is absurd. You're doing them a favour, a pretty big favour in fact, and asking your boyfriend to get on a bus at 5 a.m. to look after your siblings is a tall ask. You'll be knackered. It's better for everyone that he gets to stay the night. I also don't quite get your mum's logic, re the Airbnb. She'll not allow you to share a bed under her own roof, but will happily pay for you to share one so you can attend a wedding. If she's that determined to force 2 adults to sleep separately, she can likely hire 1 adult for the week. Stop visiting until your mom respects your relationship. You were right to set that boundary with her. My brother passed away 5 years ago. He has a daughter who was a tween at the time. Let's call her Nora. My other brother became Nora's legal guardian, but she ended up living with me most of the time and we got closer. She's like a daughter to me, and even though I'm not her legal guardian, everyone in our family has accepted me as her dad. I started dating my girlfriend about a year ago and told her that I had a daughter. I didn't go into detail that she's not mine, I just wanted her to know that Nora and I are a package deal. I introduced her to Nora about 4 months ago and they do not get along. Nora is not an easy kid to get along with and my girlfriend lacks patience. A few days ago she found out that Nora was actually not mine and freaked out. She called me an idiot for lying to her and forcing her to tolerate and spend time with that annoying kid who isn't even mine. I told her that Nora was mine and kicked her out of my home for insulting my child in my home. I've been getting texts from her friends who all think I'm an idiot. Not the idiot. Biological father or not, legal guardian or not, you are responsible for Nora and it's part of your job to advocate for her, which is exactly what you were doing. You owe no one an explanation of the true nature of your relationship with Nora. OP needs to drop the girlfriend and keep the kid. The girlfriend isn't a keeper, definitely. Nora is OP's daughter. However, OP admits it's difficult to get along with Nora but never explains why. I wonder what happened between Nora and OP's girlfriend. Nora is a teen now and let's be honest, teen kids can be a nightmare. It doesn't excuse OP's girlfriend's words, but it might explain some things. I'm going to assume it's a mixture of angst and trauma. She lost her father as a tween, her mother isn't in the picture, she had to move in with her uncle, then moved again to a place she was happier and more comfortable, and now there's this new person in her safe space. Then I'm guessing she was angsty, the girlfriend didn't have the patience for it, and they were at each other from then on. I have no idea if this is right or not, I'm basing this on what I could see my daughter doing. Yes, you're right, I'd like to know what it means that Nora is not easy to get along with. Did she reject OP's girlfriend's attempts to bond? Is she rude? Does she lie? Break things? OP said that his girlfriend had no patience with Nora, but he also never bothered to explain to his girlfriend what happened to his kid and how traumatized she is. I assumed the girlfriend just thought Nora was a brat. What a messy situation. Nothing can excuse the girlfriend's words, but yeah, this relationship wasn't meant to be. It's a beautiful thing you did taking in your niece, and fair play to you for considering her your own daughter. But you've been with your girlfriend for a year and never told her the truth. You can be upfront about the situation while still being firm that she's part of the deal and not going anywhere. It's possible your girlfriend felt blindsided and deceived and reacted out of that. You are the idiot for not being honest and upfront the first. You can tell people the truth and tell them you and Nora are a package deal. So today, I, 22 female, was at a coffee shop and I was like second in line to order when a pregnant lady and her friend came up and just stood beside me and asked if they could go next. Now, I was really hungry and tired and it was around 4 in the afternoon and I didn't eat anything since the previous night. The place was also like really hot and I had a habit of fainting under those exact circumstances, no food and extreme heat. So I told them sorry, but no, they can't order before me. Then the friend of the pregnant lady told me that if I didn't notice, the lady was pregnant, so they really just wanted to order so she could sit down. I then said, unless you're pregnant as well, why don't you just let the pregnant lady sit down and you join the back of the line and order for the both of you? The friend got visibly annoyed, so they walked to the back of the line. There were 4 or 5 people behind me, making them like the 6th person to order. It was then my turn to order, so I just did and went about my day. But now that I'm thinking about it, am I the idiot? Geez, OP, if the pregnant lady was having trouble standing in a short line, she should have sat down while her friend ordered for her. This is not an excuse to cut in line while everyone had waited their turn. OP, you're not the idiot. If they have an actual medical emergency, they probably shouldn't be ordering coffee and scones. I know everyone handles pregnancy differently, but if this lady is having such a hard time standing in line while pregnant, maybe she shouldn't be out. That's a bad take. I've been pregnant and I had to sit a lot, but that doesn't mean I should ban myself from cafes. That's an extreme reaction, don't you think? I still did my best to enjoy my time and do shopping, etc. I was just forced to do it very slowly and gently or I'd throw up. People are allowed to try and participate in society, even if it's challenging for them. I once had an obviously very pregnant lady in line in front of me. She asked me if I could hold her spot so she could sit until it was her turn. Also, freaking lucky lady. She's not cutting, she didn't ask to cut, and she still waited the same amount of time. No one was hurt by it, no one lost anything by it, and she didn't feel entitled to anyone else's time. Letting her sit while she was waiting changed nothing for me or anyone else. Being pregnant can be so hard, and I'm all for helping people when they need it, but I'm not going to light myself on fire to keep you warm. I will, however, scooch over a bit so you can share my fire with me.